Good afternoon, children. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience caused to you because owing to unavoidable circumstances, I had to engage classes for all the four sections A, B, C, and D till further information. Okay. As per the previous plan, I was taking A and D, and B or C was the two sections P and C were being taken by madam. So till further information, I will engage all the classes and all the students of four sections will attend collectively. Okay. So before I start, are you able to listen to me? Am I audible to you, children? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Please confirm. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
previous class, the previous classes, I think, I was able to finish two chapters. The last lesson and last spring, giving the details of all the intricate points, important questions and answers, expressions, vital discussions, everything. So proceeding further, today I will take the I will take up the first poem from your book Flamingo. That is, can you name the first poem? Have you gone through it? What is the name? What is the name of the poem?
My mother at 66.
My mother at 66. Who is the poet? Who is the poet?
Kamal Das.
Yes, Kamala Das. But before I dwell upon the thematic content of the poem, I'd like to give you some information about this. Actually, I use the word poet. So for female, it is poetess, and for male, it is poet. But in modern English, poet is commonly used for both. Poetess is okay, but if you use the word poet even for the female poet, no problem. It is equally acceptable. So, Kamala Das is an Indo-Anglian writer. Children, I use the terminology Indo-Anglian. Do you understand the meaning of Indo-Anglian? Hello? Indo-Anglian? No. Anglo-Indian, you know? Do you understand Anglo-Indian? No.
Sir, Indian native. Natively Indian.
Interact properly, yes. What? फिर से बोलो. Anglo.
Sir, natively Indian.
So, if somebody's parents, either of the parents belong to England, one belongs to India and the other belongs to England, the offspring is, the product is Anglo-Indian. Either of the parents must belong to England and the rest belong to India, that is Anglo-Indian. But I am talking about Indo-Anglian. 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 Indo-Anglian, This terminology refers to the writer. Anglo-Indian, any person fulfilling the same condition, but Indo-Anglian is chiefly associated with the writer. What is the definition? A writer who practices Indian theme in English language. That is called Indo-Anglian writer. Is it clear? Children, I expect one thing. Please interact so that I must understand that you all are learning things in a proper way. So whenever I ask for confirmation, you must say something. Is it clear or not? Once again. If a writer,
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anglo-Indian belongs to a particular person who either of the parents belong to England or India and India. That is Anglo-Indian. But Indo-Anglian refers to the writer. And if a writer practices Indian theme in English language, the language is English, but the subject matter of his or her writing is from Indian background, that kind of writer is called Indo-Anglian. Is it clear? So, can you name some of the Indo-Anglian writers? 4 or 5 names.
So Sarojini Naidu.
Naidu, very nice. Next. Sarojini Naidu. Then
Sir, R.K. Narayan.
R.K. Narayan, very nice. Yes, yes, you all know it. Nice. Tell me some more names.
Sir Ruskin Bond.
Ruskin Bond, very good. Very nice.
Sir, Shakespeare.
What?
So
Khuswant Singh.
Sir, Shakespeare.
Voice is not clear. You are trying to say something, but I want to listen to you properly. Once again. Kamala Das herself. Mulk Raj Anand. N.C. Chaudhary. Soha Day. Vikram Seth. A number of names. Jawaharlal Nehru. So Mahatma Gandhi. Several, many, not several, many writers. The writer who practices Indian theme in English language, and such writers are called Indo-Anglian writers. Is it clear? One more fact. Kamala Das is the pen name of the writer. The real name is Madhavi Putti. So, what is a pen name? Have you heard? Pen name?
Sir, the name which is associated to the writer by his writing. For example, Premchand. Premchand is a pen name.
Premchand means a writer who originally hides his or her original name and publishes, or the writers publish their writings by other names, pseudonyms, Chadmanam. That is called pen name. It was practiced earlier and it had some valid reasons. I must tell you to make it clear. As you, a child just referred to Munshi Premchand. It was the time when Britishers were ruling over India, and some of the writers, through their writings, they want to inspire the Indian people to fight against the British rule. Naturally, they would never quote their name, write their name, the real name. Rather, they hid their names and they got their writings published by that pseudonym, that is the pen name. The best example is, you might have heard the name of Makhan Lal Chaturvedi, a great Hindi poet, and his most celebrated poem, Pushpiya Vilasha, much celebrated, much talked about poem. He used to write to inspire the freedom fighters, and particularly pushed Vilasa to go through it. So, very nice. So, and he used to get his writings published under the pen name, that is Ek Bhartiya Atma. The real name was Makhanlal Chaturvedi, but he got his creations published under the name Ek Bhartiya Atma, so that the Britishers could not arrest him. So that was the concept behind using the pen name. So you understand pen name? Pen name is the pseudonym the writer hides.
Yes, sir.
Another poem we will study, Pablo Neruda. Ricardo Basalto is the poet, and the pen name is Pablo Neruda, Keeping Quiet. A very nice poem. Will come to study in the coming days. So you understand pen name?
Yes, sir.
So I discussed Anglo-Indian, Indo-Anglian, pen name, all such things you must have. So Kamala Das is one of the most celebrated Indo-Anglian writer. That the pen name of Kamala Das. The present poem has been composed by her. Now come to the theme of this poem. Then I shall follow the explanation. Actually, the poet is going to see her mother off to Kochi airport. Where is Kochi? In Kerala. She is going to see her mother off. But on way, she could notice certain things in the mother. The mother was sitting by the side of the poet in a vehicle, and the narrator, the poet, could see the physical condition of the mother. The age was, 66, means touching 70, and at that stage of life, she had lost the luster of her face. Quite natural. It is said that you can defy God, but you cannot defy your age. Children, have you heard it? You can defy God, but you cannot defy your age. Very powerful expression. So, at the age of 66, naturally, the face was full of wrinkles, lackluster at that age, old age, and the poet had used the word "essel like a corpse." Corpse, dead body. To see the physical condition of the mother, the negative idea would come to her mind. And she went on comparing the mother to a corpse, all tired, exhausted, subdued with energy, no charm, face full of wrinkles, almost nearly dead. That's why she said, to see this present condition of the mother, the writer could use the word "essel like a corpse." Means like a corpse, dead body. And a figure of a speech she used, "essel like a corpse, life." So while studying the poem, simultaneously we would be focusing on the figures of a speech. So very simple figure of a speech. You might have studied as you are standard 9 or 10 or 11 also. What is? The condition of the mother was like a corpse. What kind of figure of a speech, children? Can you tell me? Hello? Hello?
Sir,
Sir,
simile.
simile.
Yes, nice. Can you define simile? What is simile? Your answer is right. Of course, it is simile. Like a corpse, that is simile, of course. But Do you have the right concept of simile?
So when there is a comparison between two things,
Two things. Your answer is almost correct. You just improve a little bit. Certain things need to be introduced. थोड़ा और प्रयास करो. You are nearly correct. Yes. Yes. Similarly, any other student? Try your best. Comparison between two things. Between two and things, introduce a particular word to make it perfect. Between two similar things or dissimilar things. I give you two options. Comparison between two things, two similar things or two dissimilar things.
Sir, dissimilar thing.
Huh? What?
Dissimilar things.
Not audible. You are not audible today. Similar things or dissimilar things?
Dissimilar
dissimilar,
things, sir.
Huh?
dissimilar,
Can you give example? If you say two similar things, so I want to know example to justify your answer. Yes. Unless until the proper concept you have, will commit the same mistake in future. So let it be very, very clear. Yes. I can help you. He is as brave as a lion. In this example, where two things are similar or dissimilar,
Different, sir. Dissimilar.
yes,
Different, dissimilar.
similar. Never forget to use the term dissimilar, only then it is simile. Comparison between two dissimilar things. One is lion, that is animal, and another is a person. Here, corpse and the mother. Corpse, the moment the soul deserts the body, it is dead and it is no longer a person. So it is an object. Corpse is an object and mother is a person. So comparison, for simile, there is a comparison between two dissimilar objects, two dissimilar things. Only then it is simile. Upma Alankar. Understand? She is as beautiful as a rose. One is thing, rose, another is person, she. Understand? So this
Yes,
is
sir.
at the same time you must know metaphor because both are the two faces of the same coin. What is metaphor? When you study simile, you must know about metaphor because both are almost the same. There is a slight difference. Simile, you understand?
so
Comparison between two dissimilar things. What is metaphor?
so when there is a comparison between two similar things,
Not at all. The comparison between always two dissimilar things, whether it is metaphor or simile. But the way
Sir,
of
where,
yes,
sir, when there is comparison between two dissimilar, when there is direct comparison between two dissimilar things without the use of word like, is metaphor.
very nice, very good. May I know your name?
Sir,
Yeah,
Richa.
just explain the answer. Yes. What's the name?
Richa.
Risha. Nice, Risha, very nice answer. Direct comparison between two dissimilar things. In simile, comparison between two dissimilar things with the help of as or like. In simile, like or as. But when the simile is applied, it becomes metaphor, rupak. Simile upmalaka, metaphor, rupak. Jैसे, the same example. He is as brave as a lion. This is simile. And he is lion in the battlefield. Both have the same meaning. But a direct comparison without the help of like or as. So he is as brave as a lion simile, and he is lion in the battlefield. That is metaphor. The similar things will always be there. The camel is like a sheep of the desert. Understand? And the camel is the sheep of the desert. Simile and metaphor. The camel is like a sheep in the desert. This is simile and direct application. The camel is the sheep of the desert. That is metaphor. Hope it is clear to you all. Simile and metaphor. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the poet observes the mother in that physical condition, looking like a corpse, face full of wrinkles, all exhausted, rejected, dejected, losing the luster of her face, dozing, mouth open, dozing, you know, the condition before sleeping, dozing, and the moment she thought, the moment the poet felt that such negative ideas are coming to her mind, she tried to remove those ideas and started peeping out of the window and could see the sprinting trees sprinting, you know, when you go by vehicle and the vehicle is at speed, you know, you can see the trees and plants running behind, sprinting. That is called sprinting. Though it is not running, it feels like that. The merry children that coming out of the houses. The poet has used such images, and there is always a question based on it. So, she tried to throw away the negative ideas from her mind and concentrate on the positive images like the trees, plants, merry children. Understand? So why? The question is, why has the poet used the images like plants and merry trees and merry children? Plants and trees and merry children are the symbol of vitality, symbol of energy, symbol of positivity. So, in order to cast away the negative ideas relating to her mother from her mind, she tried to fill her mind through positive things, positive images, and for that she has used the images like the trees and the merry children. Children and trees are the symbol of vitality, energy, positivity. Understand? Another next, the poet went on comparing the mother's face to late winter's moon. Very powerful expression. Late winter's moon. Late winter's moon. But still, why has the poet compared the mother's face to late winter's moon? As far as you all know, moon is always used as a symbol of beauty, positivity. But here, to exhibit the mother's condition, though it is negative, all lackluster and wrinkled faces, she has tried to compare it with late winter's moon. And a very significant question generally asked in the board examination. Why has the poet compared the mother face to late winter's moon? Several poets have used this imagery of moon in a very positive way. But two things are there. It is not simply moon, late and winter. Of course, moon is there, but the two terms, late winters. What's the reason behind it? I tell you. Moon has always been a source of attraction, of course, but during winter and particularly late winter night, nobody observes moon. Moon is generally observed by the people during summer. The summer moon is always beautiful. Even late at night, people observe it. But nobody comes out of his or her house to observe winter's moon. Means the winter moon is all isolated. It is not paid any attention to. Are you getting? Just I am trying to correlate the idea of late winter's moon to mother's face. That's why the poet has tried to compare the mother's face to the late winter's moon. Late winter moon is not paid any attention to. It is all isolated. Nobody comes out. And mother at this stage of life is also not paid attention to because her face is repulsive, full of wrinkles, dozing, mouth open, exhausted, subdued with energy, giving a negative picture. So there is a correlation between the late winter moon and the mother's face at this stage. And what is the correlation? Both are repulsive. Late winter moon is also not paid any attention to, got isolated. In the same way, the mother face at this stage is also repulsive. So there is a likeness between the two in a way I just explained. That's why the poet has used another simile to express this idea. Hope you got it. Is it clear to you? The comparison,
Yes, sir.
the late winter moon and the mother's face.
Yes, sir.
Until then, she reached the airport. And as you know, any person supposed to undertake journey by plane has to go through security check. So the daughter was stopped before that restricted area and the mother proceeded further for the security check. This was the time of departure. This was the time of separation. Understand? And the narrator was, the poet was feeling, having a familiar ache. The term has come, familiar ache. Ache, you know, dard. In what way is it familiar? Whenever a child is separated from the mother, he or she doesn't feel comfortable. You see the small children, when they are separated from the mother, they start crying. Though the mother, the narrator is not crying like a child, still says the same feeling of the pangs of separation, the pain of separation. And why it is familiar? Because she had been feeling, she had been having the same kind of feeling right from the childhood. So she was familiar with, familiar, parchit hona. In the past also, whenever the narrator would get separated from the mother, she might be feeling the same, having the same feeling. That's why it is familiar. Familiar is not so which you feel at this for the first time. You are aware of that particular thing, that's why it is familiar to you. She might be having the pain of separation in past also. This time also the narrator, the poet is getting separated from the mother. That's why she was having the same feeling That is the egg, that's why familiar egg. And she started smiling deliberately, saying that see you soon, Amma. At the time of separation, she was undergoing a kind of grief, the pain of separation. Still, she was smiling. Children, tell me whether the mother was smiling naturally, spontaneously, or was it a deliberate smile? Deliberate, you understand? Knowingly, you जानबूझकर किया जाए. The smile was deliberate or natural? Hello. Was her smile deliberate or was it natural?
Sir,
So,
deliberate.
What?
deliberate,
Sir,
Why?
deliberate.
Why deliberate?
because she also don't like.
What?
So because she also don't like the separation of her and her daughter.
Both she was having, there is a contrast. She writes that she was having the familiar ache. At the same time, she was trying to smile. There is a contradiction. If she was undergoing a kind of pain of separation, how could she smile? Naturally, she was trying to smile. The smile was not natural. It was deliberate. But why was she smiling deliberately? It also had reason. So as she didn't want
To
to,
convince her mother that she is okay.
yes. So that she didn't want to give the impression that she was unhappy. She was undergoing a kind of pain or grief. As she didn't want to make her mother unhappy. If she could show the feeling of pain, the mother might be feeling unhappy. So as not to give the mother that impression, she was trying to smile deliberately, saying that see you soon, Amma. This is the story. This is the theme of this. So once again, I'd like to recapitulate the whole episode, and tomorrow I shall follow the proper explanation and question and answer. So Kamala Das, the pen name, understand? An Indo-Indian writer who has painted a very painful picture of her mother while she was going to see her mother off at Kochi airport, and the mother was sitting beside her, and she has painted a very, very painful picture of the mother. The mother at that age of 66 has lost the luster and attraction of her face full of wrinkles, subdued with energy, all exhausted, and says, you people see me like a corpse. They also compared the mother face with Hill's home, the explanation I have always given. And while reaching the airport, at the time of final separation, she was undergoing a kind of grief, a kind of pain she was familiar with. Understand? And while she was undergoing that kind of pain, still she was trying to smile deliberately so as not to give a very unhappy feeling to the mother. And this is the end of the poem, a small poem. So hope you understand. You got the proper theme of the poem. Children, hope you got it. Respond it, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow I shall take up the same poem, giving more and more information about the poem. So that's all today.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you want to say something?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.